Welcome into the Lucas and Lucas podcast. Lucas Franco alongside Mike Lucas as we get you set for the Cleveland Cavaliers looking for redemption against the Miami Heat. Just an inexcusable loss the other night. Just you cannot let Andrew Wiggins free on that screen. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. You know, with zero point 0.4 seconds left, the only realistic chance you have to win the game is a lob at the rim. And the fact that Cavaliers just left that area wide open with the game on the line is quite frankly inexcusable. And Kenny Atkinson clearly needs to go back to the drawing board, and this is
Nope, nope,
unacceptable.
nope. Kenny Atkinson got ejected, so you can't blame it on Kenny. This was the
He needs
assistant
to be
coach.
calling the signals from the locker room.
No, Johnny Bryant, who was rumored to get head coaching jobs for the last 4 years and hasn't gotten one yet, and maybe that's the reason why. But listen, you could blame the Cavs on a lot. Frank, I 100% agree with your assessment. Inexcusable defense. I love that word you used because that's exactly what I tweeted in my breakdown yesterday. Inexcusable to not cover the ball with a bigger defender and to leave it wide open. Boom. It happened, and tonight's the rematch, but the Cavs are without four of their top six scorers, so we'll see how it goes.
Hashtag no excuses. So
Hashtag let them know.
there should be a rule in sports that if you lose a game, that you were not up for any Player of the Week awards. The fact that Dylan Gabriel was nominated for Rookie of the Week award after losing a game to the pathetic
Hold on,
Jets.
hold on. I got to chime in on this because we did a whole thing on the show. If you look at his stat
I
line
don't give
in
a
a
crap what the stats are.
vacuum,
The only stat that
no,
matters
no,
is
he should
L.
not be in, like, Travion Henderson should have won and did win, but they pick six rookies every week. Frank, not a lot of rookies play enough to have like legitimate stat lines. And Gabriel technically started a game. He technically threw two touchdowns. He did not turn the football over. I did not think he played well, but he was the sixth choice. He finished in sixth place. It's stupid that they have six rookies nominated for an award every week. Pick three and you get rid of this crap. It's not his fault that the NFL nominates six different rookies. But go back week by week, Frank, and look at the sixth nominee in each
Honestly, I
week.
couldn't. I couldn't care less who the nominees are. All I
Well,
know is
people
that if you lose a game, you should not be eligible to be selected. Choose
look.
literally anybody else. There's got to be somebody else.
So Travion Henderson, who had 155 yards and two touchdowns, if the Patriots had ended up losing to the Buccaneers, he should not have been able to be nominated.
Yeah, you lost the game.
You're
You're
ridiculous.
not a Player of the Week if you lose a game. You're just not.
Okay, that's an outrageous statement, but okay.
I mean, like it's so rare in sports, like World Series MVPs from the losing team. Like I think the only time it's happened was
But
19,
we're not saying the most. We're saying the player of the week. He had the best performance of the week over the course of a
but
season.
it
Was
wasn't good enough
MVP.
to win the game. So how good could it have been?
Well, he was.
Clearly
Travion
not good
Henderson
enough.
was.
Clearly not good enough. All right.
You're freaking out over the sixth nominee for the rookie of the year, rookie of the week, not even year. Is classic Franco fashion. That's why I love doing this podcast with you.
Yeah, well, so I'll take that as a victory for me. Uh, Elsewhere in sports this week, Nico Harrison's tenure as general manager of the Dallas Mavericks is over. I think that they made this move because, first of all, the Mavericks aren't winning. If they were winning and having a solid start to the season, then none of this would have happened. But the fact
Agreed.
that they're losing and how well Luka's playing and the constant fire and Nico chants just raining in that arena every time they play, it's just like, all right, I think it just reached a point with ownership that like, all right, like whether who you want to blame for the trade of Luka, whether it's Nico, whether it's the owners, whether it was Luka Doncic secretly maneuvering his way. Shams says that it was all Nico's, whatever, whoever you want to blame. But the fans, from their perspective, it's on Nico, and that's why they made the move because the ownership couldn't stand every game just hearing the fire Nico chants raining down on them. That's why I believe they made that move.
Yeah, I mean, if they weren't 3-8 and in 14th out of 15th place in the Western Conference, you don't consider making the move. In a vacuum, it was a terrible trade, but when you get Cooper Flag back and you see the vision of the roster Nico Harrison was trying to put together,
But that's a joke. All
I
right, so you,
still
you mentioned the vision. So like and I'll never forget it. In his press conference after the season or after they won the lottery, he's like, "People finally starting to see my vision."
yeah,
It's
and that's BS because he didn't envision getting the first overall pick
But
and
unless we go back to the deal that I talked about that
and
happened,
it
where
was a
like
conspiracy.
right that the
Yeah,
NBA
the
said
the
you
league.
trade him to the Lakers, we'll give you the number one pick.
So
Obviously,
it
not knowing that he would have gotten fired.
yeah. So if you want to believe that, sure. In theory, he actually was a pretty good GM. He just happened to make the single stupidest trade in the history of basketball.
But
Maybe not the stupidest,
I
but it's
can't
up there.
think of a
He's made some really good moves outside of that.
an executive though. He is one of the least charismatic people have ever heard in front of a microphone. Whenever he talks, and
Frank,
he's like,
the day after they traded Luka, they played Cleveland in Cleveland. I was in the room with all the ESPN, the National, the ABC, the TNT reporters when Jason Kidd and Nico Harrison gave their first public press conference after that trade. Frank, I was sitting 14 feet away from Nico Harrison and I could barely hear him. He whispered into the microphone like this. He had no charisma. Jason Kidd was clearly frustrated at the move, and you could like feel that in the room. I was 10 feet away. I can't say I was in many cool situations that are be remembered forever. That press conference is going to go down in history as one of the most awkward, weird. You could feel the tension in the room between GM and coach after a monumental trade that came out of no. I was there, and Nico had no aura. It seemed like he wasn't confident in what he did. He seemed like he immediately regretted hitting the send. It's like you send a risky text to a girl, and you're like, "Should I hit it? Should I not? F it, hit it, send." And then you're like, "No, no, I wish I didn't do it." Like, it felt like he had immediate regret. And once again, like if you look at his entire track record of moves as the general manager of the Mavericks, he made a lot more correct moves than incorrect moves. But the Luka thing, it's you're unable to come back from that. There's no righting the ship. There's no pointing the arrow in the right direction when you make a monumental mistake like that. And 11 games into this season, sitting at 3-8 with the Lakers at 8-2, and Luka averaging basically a 40-point triple double. Yeah, bye bye. Bye bye. It sucks, but that's how sports works.
so what I'm struggling with is like
Would you have kept him?
kept two Nico.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I would have for at least the rest of this year.
I mean, like Kyrie's out, AD's been hurt. Like Cooper Flag's only like 10 games into his career. Like I wouldn't. I think it was a little maybe excessive of just hitting the fire button that quick. I just I need to know because I don't know. I want to be. I wish I was a fly in the room when this trade went down to figure out like, all right, who is the actual ringleader here? Because it still to this day is extremely extremely shady how about all this went down. And and you mentioned how Nico's made a lot of great moves. Like
He has.
someone must have had something on him and like had him like ready to like literally slit his throat open if he didn't like make this trade because there's just no logical explanation for the move and he tried to like say oh it's because defense and that's what he tried to hang his hat on but like anyone with a brain knows that's crap. It's so just indefensible that and it doesn't make it in the fact they didn't chop him out there in the public and that I heard like Bill Simmons say that the reason why they didn't want it leaked out that they were shopping him is because they knew that there would be fan outrage. But if you knew there was going to be so much outrage, then why would you even make the move? So there's just I just have so many questions that don't have an answer, and I just I don't know. I just find it hard to believe this was all Nico Harrison and that he had full autonomy to just make this move without consulting, Jason Kidd, without consulting the ownership. It just there's a lot of things that just don't add up for me about this, and I hope that one day we do get true answers because it still is just leaves me shaking my head in every conceivable way.
The trade did it make sense in the moment? It doesn't make sense now. It looks worse and worse by the day. You're right that Kyrie's out for the majority of the season, coming back from his injury. AD's been hurt. Without those two, they don't really have a point guard. Like it's not a perfect roster by any means, but that's how sports works, man. One colossal mistake can undo years and years of really
But what
smart
do you believe?
team
Who
building.
do you believe actually made this move?
Nico Harris. I do
You
believe this was Nico
full
Harrison.
Nico.
I think Nico was afraid they were going to lose Luka, despite what he says now. I think he thought that Luka was not mature enough to be the best player on a championship caliber team. He didn't stay in shape enough, didn't play defense. And when you're a general manager and you have the philosophy, the principal philosophy in your basketball making that Nico had, and he's had his entire career, which is defense wins championships, I don't agree. I can see how he looked at Lucas and said, that's a flawed product. I can get something back in Anthony Davis, in a first round pick, which turned into Cooper Flag, which is the greatest luck of genius or a conspiracy, whatever you want to believe, and Max Christie. I still think it's an abhorrent move. They should have gotten way more for Luka if you're going to trade him. But I do believe at the end of the day, it was Nico Harrison pushing the bus.
Then how do you defend not making it known to the league that he's What? There's no defense for that. There's literally
I
no logical.
because the only thing I can think of is if it leaks that the Mavs are listening to offers for Luka. Luka then goes supernova, mega nuclear, F the Mavs, and then it tanks his trade value.
Like
And
kind of like
maybe
James Harden, but like even like James Harden tanking his trade value still got a massive return. I don't believe that there's a scenario unless he like literally legitimately commits a crime that would have tanked his value. Because you saw what James Harden did. No one has ever tanked their value harder than James Harden, and the Rockets still absolutely fleeced the Nets in that trade. So like, what can a player do to
I'm
a player, especially
what
of Lucas caliber, considered top five
Frank,
player to tank his
you
trade value? A legitimate question. What
you
can a team
you're
do to
asking me
value?
to get in Nico Harrison's head. I'm with you. Like I'm saying I think that's what Nico believed, not what I think would have actually happened.
But like
Luka's a
there's
top four player in the league.
but I just that's a bogus to me. That's a bogus claim because I don't a player of Lucas Calvert I'm trying to even think what can he do aside from committing a crime and being arrested or doing steroids or whatever or like getting in a something really really bad like what could they do to I think the only answer is committing a crime.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Kyrie when he got traded away from the Nets to the Mavericks. Like he had tanked his value a little bit. He didn't go for as much. But then you see Harden, who gets still the Kings deal essentially that he wanted when he went to Philadelphia. The Harden trade to Philadelphia, he didn't get as much as you wanted back. Like you can hurt it a little bit, but what they got back at the end of the day, and you can't say it's Cooper Flag. You can say it's a draft pick. Yes, it turned into Cooper Flag, but they got one first round pick, Max Christie and Anthony Davis. And even if Luka tanked his trade value, Frank, I think you still get more than that on the open market for Luka.
Well,
So,
absolutely.
I'm with you. Like I'm just trying to be and put myself in Nico Harrison's shoes, which I never would have made the trade in the first place. But it
Something shady clearly went on, and I want answers. Will we ever get them? I don't know. And if the answer is just Nico Harrison's just pure plain stupid, then I guess that's the only logical explanation. But the whole idea of just not chopping it, getting what they got in return, and then ending up with the first overall, it just I'm telling you, it doesn't add up.
it's
And I
too
see
much.
you're yawning. How are you yawning right now? Wake the F up.
I'm actually. It's been a long day here, Frank.
All
Just finished
right,
working out.
so
Let's talk about the Jets Browns game.
no, I just no. We got to talk about the Giants firing
We don't
Brian,
talk about the Giants.
firing Brian Daboll.
It's the right move. They had to
Uh,
do it. It
but
sucks, but they had to do it.
John Mara now puts his full faith in Joe Shane to run the organization, pick the new coach, and I don't understand why they didn't fire both guys. It seems like this was the time
Yep.
to
Yep.
start over because I think Joe Shane is more at fault here because you look at the team and clearly they had an opportunity to re-sign Saquon Barkley. Chose not to do so despite the fact that Saquon's only had one good game all year. But either way, they won the Super Bowl last year and
It was the right decision to let him walk.
you believe that
Yes.
to the
I know.
Eagles
Yeah.
and let them win the
Giants
Super
like,
Bowl.
Giants weren't winning anything with Saquon. It makes no sense to pay a
But like
running
you had
back.
Daniel Jones who looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL
Okay.
right now.
And that's on Dayball. Like
So you blame Brian Daboll for that.
for the Daniel Jones part, yeah, it's not Shane's fault.
But
How's
Jones
that, how's
was
that Joe
great.
Shane's
Jones
fault?
had a really good year in 2020. I guess passing wasn't great, but he did.
And then he was terrible since. And listen, we've seen a whole trend in quarterbacks. Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, Baker Mayfield, like Geno Smith.
Geno
These
Smith is
retrade.
horrible, horrible.
Well, now,
He
but
does not deserve to be looped in
yes,
that
he
conversation.
for a couple of years he was really good in Seattle. Like now he's
Did
obviously
he win
old and
any
not the
playoff
same.
games with the Seahawks?
Daniel Jones hasn't won shit yet either.
Oh, now we're cursing on the show. What do you think this is? The ultimate Cleveland support?
Good point. Yeah, you're right. Daniel Jones hasn't won poop yet either. He's 8-3, and yeah, he just won in Berlin because Jonathan Taylor ran for 253 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like Daniel Jones is playing good, but I still don't believe in Daniel Jones. I'm still skeptical in Sam Darnold before he wins an actual playoff game, and even though he's the leading MVP
I will
candidate,
say I do
Baker
I do
Mayfield hasn't won anything either.
I do
Frank,
believe the Darnold stuff is a lot more real than Daniel Jones.
I
'Cause
agree,
I
100%
think
agree.
the Colts are led by the way that Jonathan Taylor's running the ball. Like any quarterback, if you have a ground game that's that
Yeah.
effective, like that makes it so easy to play quarterback.
And
So
by the way, the one good year Saquon had with Daniel Jones, they made the playoffs and won a playoff game. So, like, but that's not going to get. You need a quarterback that can actually elevate you in the playoffs. I don't believe that. I'll be happily proven wrong when I see it. As for the Giants, Daboll had to be fired. You can't blow fourth quarter leads like you have in back to back weeks, or what was it, 3 of the last 4 weeks blow double digit fourth quarter leads. Like that's inexcusable. That's on coaching. If you're gonna clean house, you got to get rid of them both. Frank, it's the same situation in Cleveland right now. They just haven't pulled the trigger on one of the two either. Both teams that I watch and I say root for, I don't really root for the Browns, but the two teams that I'm most invested in are in the exact same situation where they have, on one hand, a GM coach combo in Cleveland that came in together, has worked together, and has done nothing. They haven't made a move yet, but I anticipate both being fired this summer. The Giants, on their hand, are now going with a keeping the GM to pick a new head coach. When the reality is, Joe Shane has had a couple nice draft picks, but he's missed on a bunch too, man. A lot of these free agents they brought in haven't hit. And you could say Daboll was losing games, sure, but like Daboll isn't part of the roster construction on this defense that is gaping holes in the secondary and at linebacker. And he's not the one calling the defense. And the offense has talent. Like the Malik Neighbors pick was awesome. Scatterboo was awesome. Jackson Dart looks like a great pick, but you just saw that video clip that came out. Jackson Dart was Brian Daboll's guy. Joe Shane didn't like him. So now you're going to keep the GM who wasn't a huge fan of the quarterback and have him pick a new head coach that has to be married to this new quarterback. It doesn't make sense. If you're going to get rid of one, get rid of both. And if you're going to keep them both. But to get rid of one and keep the other, I just don't get it. I don't like it, and I pray to God Cleveland doesn't do it, man.
They don't fire. They don't fire. Oh, they don't do the same thing you're saying.
Fire both or keep them both. And they should fire both.
I guess, yeah, I guess, I do believe Stefanski is a great coach and but I guess in going off of that, if you're gonna fire the GM or fire the coach, and you might as well get rid of all of them. But I do think Stefanski is a good coach, and
I
I
do
do
too.
believe that any team would be really, really smart to hire him if the Browns do decide to make that move.
Yeah, I just don't get. So let's just say for the sake of this conversation, the Browns fire Barry and keep Stefanski, right?
Right.
So,
Then it kind of makes it awkward. Like the new GM's got to sign off on the coach, and it's
and they're going to draft a quarterback, and they're going to stink again next year because guess who costs $80 million on their salary cap at minimum next year? At minimum, so they're going to stink again. So they're going to get off to another 2-5 start, and that'll be 3 years in a row of Kevin Stefanski. So just either like I said this on the show the other day, sign them both to 3-year extensions right now, Frank, and guarantee them to be there when the dome opens. So you have until the dome opens in 2029 to figure this stuff out. Or get rid of him and start over because then you're in a Cam Ward situation or in a Jackson Dart situation where you draft a quarterback and now you're going to bring in a coach in his second year that didn't draft him, that's not his guy. You've seen it in New York a million times, Frank. If the coach isn't married to the quarterback, they're always going to use that as the scapegoat, as the excuse to try and buy themselves more time. It has worked in the past on occasions. It looks like Drake May's the rare example here where he gets drafted by a regime, the complete regime change, and he still elevates his game. But more often than not, man, it's tough. It's tough to come in as a young quarterback, have a regime change, and I thought Daboll was doing a pretty good job with Jackson Dart, but I understand why you make the move. I just don't get why you don't fire Joe Shane too.
So who would you want more to be the head coach next? Lane Kiffin or Bill Belichick? I want Bill Belichick. It's time to bring him home. He loves the
Neither.
Giants. He loves the Maras.
Neither.
He's got a bunch of Super Bowls. He won Super Bowls with the Giants defensive coordinator. He respects the organization. I think the UNC thing clearly is never going to work because he's not going to be able to recruit at the level that the SEC and Big Ten powers are. It is time to recognize the fact that the
Are you
ACC
being serious
is
or are
a
you just
dump.
making it? You just being a joke to piss me
I'm
off?
making legitimate points while being facetious.
Okay.
I do
Okay.
really want the Giants to hire Bill Belichick, bring him back to the NFL where he belongs. He's got the track record. He's learned from his mistakes. It's time.
Yeah, I don't want Belichick. I do not want Lane
I want
Kiffin.
Jordan Hudson on the sidelines with a
Yeah,
headset.
no. So far, just like Carly Ursay.
Yeah, exactly. Like she's got to be running the ship. She can be the president of the team, side by side with John Mara, and they'll form a great partnership.
The
I think it'll be great.
the two names I really like. I, I don't think Flores is going to get back into coaching. I would take Brian Flores in a heartbeat.
I mean,
And
he's
then
coach. He's defensive coordinator.
no, as a head coach, I,
Oh, head
I I
coach.
was talking to someone who doesn't think he's going to get that chance. And then I like Kubiak, the offensive coordinator in Seattle, and I like Minter, the defensive coordinator with the Chargers. I think both those guys are smart. And then I did see a rumor. Well, I don't know if it was a rumor, but Greeny on Get Up said if somehow the Steelers let go of Tomlin, he does not have a year on his This is his final year on a contract. That would be the guy I'd bring to New York in a heartbeat if I could.
Or New Jersey. We'll see. I think Belichick would be a lot of fun. Obviously, Kiffin has ties to Jackson Dart. That would make a lot of sense if the Giants can give him an offer he can't refuse. How willing would he be to leave Ole Miss in that situation? But the two funnest or most fun picks, wake up,
It's the sound of your voice, Frank.
are Lane Kiffin and Bill Belichick. And I don't think there's a close second. A lot of people are Mike McCarthy is like on those odds.
No, if Mike McCarthy gets hired, Frank, I'll have to take a break from being a Giants fan. I cannot support a Mike McCarthy led Giants team.
Okay. So last question. Does Russell Wilson ever get the chance to be named a starting quarterback of an NFL team? Is Russell Wilson on an NFL roster
Barring
next
in
season? Is Russell Wilson on an NFL roster next season, or is he working in a broadcast booth or a
broadcast booth,
studio?
broadcast, TV, media, doing something. The way they booed him before he even threw a pass when Jackson Dart got put in concussion protocol last week says it all. I'm so excited to see Jameis this weekend. I cannot wait. I know the
What are
Packers
you excited
defense.
about? Like the recklessness?
As someone who lived through the Jameis experience in Cleveland last year,
Excuse me.
it is, thank you. It's just fun because you have to know like you have to know what to expect or go in with low expectations. But Jameis plays a fun brand of football. He's not scared to chuck it into tight windows. It leads to some terrible interceptions, but it leads to a lot of fun plays. And as someone who has watched a Browns offense over the last 3 seasons struggle to score 20 points and throw for 200 yards a week, Frank, you're a Jets fan. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You just won a game where Justin Fields threw for
Man.
54 yards. Jameis makes football fun. And the Giants with Jackson Dart have been fun. And Jameis Winston is going to continue that fun. Do you know what's not fun? Watching Russell Wilson play quarterback, Frank. And watching Dylan Gabriel play quarterback. And watching Justin Fields play quarterback. So knowing that one of my two teams is going to have at least a fun quarterback out there on Sunday while the Browns are in the 4:30 slot playing the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson's back in town. Like, that's not fun. So let me get my fun in. It's going to end poorly. I think the Packers are going to absolutely destroy the Giants. But I'm very excited to see Jameis.
So am I. So moving on to the other team in New Jersey, the Jets. Justin Fields' last 4 games, he's thrown for 45 yards, 46 yards against the Bengals, threw for 244 and then 54 yards.
He's the
It's
worst
like
quarterback in football.
it's hard to believe that there's been like no progression unless defenses just know exactly what he's doing. They see his eyes. Like how do you possibly begin to like conclude how atrocious he's been just throwing the ball and no Garrett Wilson against the Patriots on Thursday night? Like he might even throw for 10 yards. It's going to be a disaster. Literally, like they have Alan Lazard and they have, I mean, I guess John Mechie and AD Mitchell are going to
Arian Smith out
and
of
like
Georgia.
Mason Taylor, the tight end. Like it's so bad. It is so bad, and it's hilarious the way Aaron Glenn's handling the media. Like anytime they ask him about don't ask me about the quarterback. Don't ask me about like it's so ridiculous. And now he had the outburst about Garrett Wilson this past week. Rich Cimini reported that Wilson's going to miss 3 to 4 weeks. Now, anytime anyone asks a question about an injury, he's like, "Ask Rich." It's such a. I don't know if
It
it's
is a great.
hilarious
It's a great
or
answer.
is it
Objectively, a great
hilarious?
answer.
Is it embarrassing? How should I feel about the way Aaron Glenn is handling these questions? Do you laugh at it? Is it funny? Do you admire it?
I am not a Jets fan, so I laugh at it. I think if I was a Jets fan, I'd be annoyed by it
To me,
because
it just screams like unprofessional. Like he asks you a
unprofessional
question.
and more than anything, Frank, you have to earn the right to act like that in a press conference. Like Bill Belichick, what he did for 20 years was just an a-hole move. Like it wasn't good for anybody. Nobody benefited from it. But when he wins 5 or 6 Super Bowls, whatever the number is, and he's consistently in the AFC Championship and they're winning the division every year, you put up with stuff like that. When your team is 2-7 or 2-8, whatever the Jets are, you have no direction. You won a game last week because the Browns are just worse than you are. You can't have a shtick. Like you just got to be open and give guys something. And Kevin Stefanski, by the way, does the same thing in different ways. He says nothing. He does the Belichick. And you know what Kevin Stefanski's done in the last 2 years? Lose, 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 and lose. And do you know what doesn't fly when you keep losing? Trying to pull off something you're not.
Well, since he started doing this, it's not naming the. I think I part of me believes that he like believes in this superstition that ever since he started not naming the quarterback, they're 2-0.
The quarterback thing, fine. And I actually think Tyrod Taylor's significantly better than Justin Fields. And if he's healthy, Tyrod should be the starter. But the ask Rich Cimini about injuries and just the complete denial of basically any question. You got to win something first, Aaron. Like, you can't just be that guy. You can't. You got to prove it first, or you're setting up reporters to absolutely rip you to shreds when things don't go right.
We'll see. Thursday's going to be a bloodbath. I think the Patriots are absolutely going to annihilate the Jets, and Fields. I think this is the game where Fields probably gets benched in the first half, possibly
Does
the start of the second half.
does Tyrod start, or do you think Fields is going to
No,
start?
Fields is going to start, but there's just no recipe for success for the Jets in this game with Fields in.
Tyrod's so much better. He's
It's going to
literally
be a
so much
disaster.
better.
So last thing before we go. So on Thursday, AL MVP will be announced. We know what time he's going to win the NL. To me, it's a very fascinating debate, and I just have a hard time
Excuse me.
envisioning a scenario where Cal Raleigh doesn't win.
Should he win though? If it was up to you, would you vote for Cal Raleigh over Aaron Judge? Take your Yankee fandom out. Would you?
So I honestly think I would, like, just because of he's the first catcher ever to hit 60 home runs, most home runs ever in a season by a catcher. The Mariners won the division for the first time in 24 years. And I think that those two things, like, and the fact that he was the face of that team throughout the season, I think that a lot of voters are going to gravitate to that just because it's so easy to see that six in front of his home runs and be like, oh, that's easy. They won the division. Oh, that's easy.
Can I
Check.
give you a
Oh,
stat?
really?
So I actually would vote for Judge. I don't think it's wrong to vote for Raleigh. It's literally comes down to preference. You have two correct answers to this question. I saw a stat though, and I can't get the stat out of my head, and this is why I vote for Aaron Judge. If you dropped Cal Raleigh's OPS by 260 points, he'd be the second lowest qualified hitter in terms of OPS in baseball this year. 260 points, right? If you drop Aaron Judge's OPS by 260 points, he's Jose Ramirez. That's how much higher Aaron Judge's OPS
I mean,
was.
his OPS was 1.144 and Cal Raleigh's was 948.
And if you drop that by 260, puts him in the seven whatevers. And if you drop Judge's by
Well,
260,
260 would put him in the high 600s.
yeah, which is below league average. And if you drop Aaron Judge's by 260, his OPS is basically Jose Ramirez's, who's going to be a top five finisher in the AL MVP too. I can't get that out of my head, Frank. I can't understand the defensive stuff that comes with being a catcher. I understand the historic nature of 60 home runs from the catcher position. I understand he was more durable than Aaron Judge was this season. But Aaron Judge was the best hitter in the American League and all of baseball the entire year. The difference in home runs, the difference in RBIs isn't wide. It's not a wide enough gap for me to overlook some of the advanced metrics that favor Aaron Judge in this one. I don't think Cal Raleigh is a bad pick. I would not shame anybody and say, how could you if you were to vote for Cal Raleigh? I just think it's close as heck. And I give the slight edge to Aaron Judge.
Yeah, he closed at like minus like 350, minus 400 range in the odds books.
Raleigh or Judge?
Judge did.
Judge.
So I mean, he hit basically like around 85 points higher than Raleigh did, seven fewer homers, 11 fewer RBIs, as you mentioned. The OPS basically 200 points higher. The WAR 7.4 for Raleigh, 9.7 for Judge. So it's just a matter of like how deep do you want to do like an analytical look at it, or do you want to look at the 60 and the winning division? And I think it's
It's
really
not a wrong
close.
answer. Not a wrong
And
answer.
I'm really curious to see how close the voting is going to be because I think it might be like there's 30 first place votes. It might be like 16-14. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be really close. And it's despite what the voting odds say. I know part of my whatever like Yankee fandom whatever. I just think my gut just says that they're gonna give it to Cal Raleigh for the 60.
What are the odds on Raleigh right now?
They're not on the board, or at
Not
least
on the board.
not on my where I usually look. But I think they stopped showing the odds, I think, on like November 2nd or 3rd. So they're off the board. But I'm fascinated to see it. And Raleigh definitely has a case. And it's also like because it's such a big thing for like the Hall of Fame and whatnot. And Judge winning 22, 24, 25. It'll be, I believe it's 22, 24, 25. It's third MVP and second straight. So like it's that's a
I
huge,
know, and there's
huge
definitely
deal.
going to be some voter fatigue and the novelty of it. So
So we
we'll
shall
see.
see. We'll see how they do it. Browns are facing who this week?
They got the Ravens.
Oh, well, Lamar might not play. That might be a win.
They said he's back at practice tomorrow. So
All right, we'll see how it goes. Battle for the first pick in full effect right now. Right now, Ty Simpson is the favorite to go number one overall, plus 170, followed by Fernando Mendoza, plus 270, Dante Moore, plus 700. Take your pick with any of those guys.
do you have a favorite guy yet of those group? Do you have one that you prefer?
That the Mendoza play last week was like okay, but I honestly I'd rather just pick a quarterback in 27 and just play that instead. Get
What'd
on
you make
Arch
real
Manning.
quick?
Arch Manning is quietly like
He's getting
really
hot.
turning it on. He has a massive test here on Saturday against Georgia, and like if Texas goes out there and he has a great game and they win that game, like all of a sudden the Arch hype
The
will be.
hype's all back on. Yeah. What'd you think of the Jets trades, by the way? We didn't talk about it last week with Sauce and Quinnen.
I think Sauce Gardner is the most overrated player in football. The
Okay.
fact that Jets got 2 first-round picks, you could not say no to that. Uh, that's why I'm now hate watching the Colts. I also think Sauce has regressed so much after he was amazing his rookie year.
Best
Incredible.
corner in football.
And ever since then, he's been, I just think, not that good. And everyone's like, oh, the Jets got Sauce Gardner. But every time you look on the field, Sauce Gardner, receivers are running right past them. So I was not mad at trading Sauce. I don't think that losing him really changes much. And they had a really team friendly deal where it doesn't really kill them like for trading him. And
Yeah.
as for Quinnen, I think on paper, like sort of you just see the name and know where he got drafted and the contract that he got. And you're like, oh my God, he's incredible. But like statistically, was not really that like on a game to game basis, didn't really like jump off the stat sheet and like wasn't really like you weren't hearing his name a bunch. He wasn't like an Aaron Donald. And the fact that Cowboys were decided to do this, like he's going to change nothing for that team. Literally, absolutely nothing. If he makes any difference with the Cowboys, I'd be shocked. So it's it's a blow, but
I like the deals
for the
at the end of the
future of the
day.
team, like I just think Sauce was trash, and I think Quinnen was extremely overrated. So for the value that they got, I understand why they made the moves, and they got a lot better in the receiving game with Mechie and AD Mitchell. Like they just had nothing, especially with Garrett Wilson now out for a
Yeah.
little bit. Like they needed someone to throw the ball to. So
I'm a fan. No, I'm genuinely a fan of what they did. So I was just curious if you agreed.
well, I mean, you just never know. But the reason why you're allowed to be skeptical and is because oh now the Jets are just going to use those picks, take trash players, and it's going to backfire. Like that's the way it usually works with the Jets.
Yeah.
So I mean they hit grand slams in the 2022 draft or in the last like 5 or 6 years hit drafting Quentin Williams, drafting Sauce Gardner, drafting Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson. Like those are like
Home
cornerstone.
run picks.
You would
Home
think
run
would be
picks.
cornerstone pieces, but it's amounts to absolutely nothing because they haven't hit on the quarterback. So
I
like
was and I use the Jets as an example. You could hit all your other draft picks, but if you don't have a quarterback, it does not matter. It does not matter. And Frank, if I was you, if I'm the Browns, taking a quarterback at the top of this draft, if he's not good, I'm taking another quarterback at the top of next draft. I don't like you got to take as many swings as you can, and when you're in a position like the Jets and the Browns are going to be, you got to keep swinging until you hit it, and keep swinging until you hit it. And even if that means losing out on top draft picks for a couple years in a row, guess what? You see what happens when you hit all your draft picks and you don't have a quarterback. Got to get the quarterback first and build around them.
we'll see. Do I have any hope the Jets are going to turn this thing around? Not really. But that will do it for this edition of Lucas Lose podcast. Patriots win on Thursday night, 42-6.
Oh my God, you're out of your mind. It's gonna be 53-3. We'll see you later.
Peace.